Welcome to the Andrew Buckle Comic Magazine review of Will Eisner's The Spirit. Now this is number 33. Now, I think there were 40 odd issues, 41 of this, but there were also other ones, the Spirit Quarterly, there was also the Warren ones and many others. Just loads of collections of Spirit, also loads of collections of obviously his other work as well. Will Eisner was just one of the greatest. So this one is Miguel, obviously on the front cover, and this is Kitchen Sink. Now I've done a quick run through of one of the Warren ones, so this one I thought I must go through a Kitchen Sink one. I love that coloured treasury. This was the thing I always loved. They often put this, I think virtually every issue, always had an index. I mean, that's just so great, just to be, and I'm surprised they never do that in comics. You know, when you bring out like the story of Dr. Octopus or something, just have the index of all the other appearances of Dr. Octopus, so people can go and look for them. Well, in here, they did. Miguel. You've got all, obviously, the reprinted, etc., when it was done. So you can see FH5, K2, 15, obviously a code there, which you can work out and see which one's there to check out. And there's February 82, a mere 40 years ago. I mean, actually, this is kept really well. It's really good quality paper. It hasn't hardly, you could near enough think it's just come off the shelves, just as it was. Which is really, it's all you want from a book, isn't it? You think, wow. I mean, that's obviously either been really looked well after, so it wasn't me. So I've bought this recently. But I imagine that quite a lot of these ones have actually survived quite well. Anyway, Haunted House, Slim Pickens, both great stories. Really early ones, 1940s ones. Then you've got the lovely Miguel stars in this Slick, 1946, which I think is just great. And essays, I love the essays. Of course, a lot of those came out, I think all of them came out in the wonderful 3-volume set of books that he brought out, which I absolutely loved. Dolan Walk to Beat, and also this one, Eisner's PS Years. Just brilliant. And I love these indexes as well. That's obviously nothing to do with Spirit, but Marvel Comics. Fantastic index. They are really good. Though, of course, being superseded now, the internet, all the various databases online. But still, at the time, I remember getting them thinking, wow, just finding out all these stories, which didn't really know of all the old issues, but look at the splashes, just always amazing. Love those ones. Now the artwork style is slightly different, but obviously that came later, but it's still, you can still see just stylish. Well, I love that when someone jumps out, obviously walking. I think you might notice, but maybe not, but it's still a great little story. Also, I love the fact they had lots of adverts. This one, you got here Art Spiegelman breakdowns, as well as 48-page colour catalogue. And then you've got Slim Pickens, sort of Citizen Kane story. So telling obviously his story and he's going through it. And of course it ends in a particular way. It's crime. But just brilliant. Of course, Spirit's involved. And I absolutely loved it. Brilliant artwork. And, well, again, they're only short stories, but effectively told. That was the thing. They were only like 5-6 pages. There were not many. Brilliant. Just told the story as well as could ever be. I mean, just masterpieces, I think. I don't think there's many stories I think that I thought, you know what, that's a bad story from Will Eisner. And you can't say that for many artists. There's some you look at and go, oh, it's okay. But Will Eisner, I always thought he produced just amazing work all the time. This one, Miguel, again, I just loved it. Though not such amazing splash. Quite often they would always have those dramatic. This one, of course, is slightly, obviously, I don't know, more Arabic, sort of, what's it, gives that sort of, I guess that was the impression. In France, it says there. And it says here 1946. So that's 6 years, obviously, after the war. And I love this as well. The poster, America poster, short history. Yeah, I don't know. Is it Moroccan? Maybe I'm completely wrong on that. But it just has that sort of look, that style. Miguel, there's good old Miguel, sending a boy to do a man's job. That was quite often that sort of reference and things. And of course, Dolan, his life changed forever once Miguel got into the story. Just brilliant, great character, absolutely. But then again, Will Eisner brought in so many great characters. That was one thing, you just constantly, there was another character. Always great names as well. Obviously, French Miguel, so you got there. Snarf, these ones. I remember seeing them in the shops. Didn't buy many of them, some I did. You've got Crystal Knight, you've got there, various weirdo. Some of these keep turning up in my local Oxfam shop. I really should pick up some. Quite often I see them, I think, yeah, odd, these sort of oddball things that I didn't buy at the time, but at the same time I think, I wish I had bought some. This one, Lowbrow Art of Robert William. Absolutely amazing artist, really worth checking out. Absolutely superb. I don't know about that one, Phoebe. the pigeon people. Don't know that one is at all. But still, you've got here Kurtzman, of course, absolutely superb. Yeah, another one of those really top, brilliant artists. And there's so many, of course. Ditko, everyone. Weird Trips, and then an essay. I always turn to this section. This was the section was probably one I'd pour over more often than not. I just love this, the graphic novel. Just some of the things he mentions in it, I'm thinking, even now, I'm quite certain that a lot of it is not really done. There's not really, comics have not really stretched the art form in the way that when, like you're reading Scott McCloud's brilliant books, I look at it and think, if only comics could be produced in the way that he describes, I haven't seen them. I think people, obviously, not every artist, obviously some artists, really have stretched it, but quite a lot, it's just the art form is panel. But it could be told in like millions of different ways. And when you read these, you think, yes, it wouldn't be great if that was done. But still, that's one thing I always thought Will Eisner, he really did stretch the form, just the way, just the silences, the way the beats, all the positioning, everything about it. But I love those sections. And they continued on the loose end section, which was at the front. And Robert Crumb sketchbook. I mean, just again, obviously. And I love this. Ask Will Eisner. Just great. And you write in, ask him questions. You think, why doesn't that happen all the time? Why isn't there an ask, like John Romita or Steve Ditko or whatever? Obviously, back in the day, not talking now, of course. But it's just, you think, why not? It would have been nice people write in and the artist write back and say, blah, 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 this is how I construct the panels and this is the reasons I work on this and this is my influences and blah, blah, blah. All those things. Obviously the directions, new aspects of drawing, how to do this, what pencils do you use? Those sort of conventional questions, I know. But still, Richard Corbin. And then this one, Pierre. And this, I think, is just absolutely brilliant. I was surprised how long he spent on all this. He did lots and lots of it. And I just bought the best of book. It's apparently a very small book, but it sounds and looks good. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously in here it's in black and white. Obviously the originals I think were in colour. Some of it was in colour anyway. I looked at some of the Kindle ones and they were in colour. And you can see the black and white there. But I think what a great art form. Just explaining various things, in lots of subjects. Football. How to play football, how to play what's now done as a comic book. I think all those sort of things, maybe they've done it. Japanese probably have done it. I know Japanese love all those sort of instructional books. It's not so... You do see comic books, obviously, graphic books, instruction books, but not in a comic book form like this, I don't think. I might be wrong on that. Please put in the comments below if you know of lots of great books that are done, instructional books that are done as a comic book. Maybe they're more than I've seen, which is not surprising. Now, also you've got there some more of that, and Wanted, Joe Dope Street, Sheet even. Joe Dope. Did you hear about Unlucky Pierre? Again, a great story. Just 3 or 4 pages, perfectly told, just really first-rate artwork, masterpiece. Then Omar, Bizarre Sex, and back issues. You got there, obviously, number 19 all the way through. Now, obviously, you can obviously find these quite... Then normally I've seen them online, £5, £6, £7, maybe less, maybe more. And they do turn up at comic conventions. I think this one I bought at a comic convention. Didn't... obviously, this isn't part... I got rid of my old copies, which I regret, but I've done that with so many things. But I do regret getting rid of these because these are some of the masterpieces. I'm not going to buy them all again. It's just, you just can't do that all the time. Dolan Walks a Beat. Again, just superb, really first-rate artwork. And again, the comic, this one is really, really aged well. It's not like it's, I think the pages are very, very subtly off-white. But I think that was near enough what it was like anyway. Back in the day, it wasn't super white at the time, as far as I remember. Colouring book, all-time greats. I mean, that just sounds great, doesn't it? Splash Pages of Spirit. Perhaps readily available, I don't know. This I love. Dictionary for Adult Comic Book Readers. Now that I would buy a big, sort of, maybe not big, but 200, 300 page volume of all these sort of word sort of designs, all the boing and clack and all the various ones. I'm surprised no one's produced one. You'd think a big volume of all these sort of, over the years, there must be millions of these sound effects that have been used And it'd be nice to do it like this sort of style. Who knows? Maybe someone will do something like that. 13 spirit stories in full colour. Letters, of course. Love letters pages. And I love one of the letters, and he turns around and says, has Will Eisner ever thought of writing a book on cartooning and illustrating comic strips? Now, yeah, I just thought, wow, yes, obviously in the end there was these books, and I just love them. Cerebus, of course, issue 35. That was obviously a long time ago. And then you got Top Gun City Narrative there, Clips magazine, and also the Underground Price Guide, which I recently got a copy of. Don't think I got that one. Might have done. I don't know. Certainly got one of the issues. Will Eisner's Spirit. I absolutely love this. Really recommend you check out some of these issues. They are really great. If you're into comics, into Will Eisner's work, you have to get these Spirit ones. I think these just masterpieces. I say I'll probably pick up a few more, but it's I don't think I'd be getting every single one, but they are an absolute gem of a comic. Totally recommended.